Welcome back, everyone, to our Week 7 now preview of the Fantasy Variation, our 8th episode now. Thanks for sticking with us throughout it. We got a special one for you today. We got a special guest in the house, the owner of NICHOLS team, none other than Jake Nichols himself. We got him here in the building. Nichols, how you doing tonight?
Good. How's it going, guys? I'm happy to be here.
Awesome, man. We're happy to have you. Happy to talk some ball with you. Colin, how are you doing tonight? He's with us as always as well.
I'm good, man. Coming off a Colts win, tough fantasy loss, but it's all right. I've got a pretty easy matchup this week, so feeling confident.
That's the energy I like to have at the beginning of our podcast here. And I guess maybe before we get into yours, we can go ahead and touch on my game real quick because I'm sure we'll have a lot to cover for your guys' big matchup coming up this week. So this past week, I actually took on the Ironheads, and we talked about them as maybe being a team on the rise, and they definitely didn't disappoint this week. They had a lot of injuries or buys. Kelsey and Hill were both out. Neighbors had a concussion. Stevenson missed. Zamir White missed. Even Taysom Hill missed. He was missing pretty much everyone, and we still couldn't get the job done this week. I feel like a broken record with my team. We're really just waiting for some people to get back from injuries. Hopefully we have Cooper Kupp back this week, Justin Jefferson coming off a bye, Kareem Hunt coming off a bye. So we should be trending in the right direction. Still hovering around 500, which, like I've been saying all year, is kind of where I just want to be at by the time we get to playoff time with all these injuries. So far, we're still sticking to the script, and we'll see if we can keep it going next week.
Yeah, what? So Cooper Kupp is projected to play this week, right?
Yep. I don't think it's confirmed or anything, but they say he had like a good workout or something, whatever that means on Sunday or something.
How do you feel? You think he gets hurt again, or you want him to rest him for one more week?
For my fantasy team, we probably need to get him out there as soon as possible. But I think I even told you right after he got hurt week 2, like, I'm an idiot. I probably should have traded Cooper Kupp and known he was going to get hurt, but probably just going to stick it out with him and play for the ceiling. But I'm not going to be super surprised if my heart gets broken again with another injury with this guy. Fair
enough. Yeah, I mean, you should be pretty happy when he comes back. Justin Jefferson and Cooper Kupp could be 2 of the top guys. You never know.
I sure hope so.
Yeah, I guess I'll shout out Yost a little bit. Good dub, man. His team might actually be good this year. Who knows? We'll see.
Looking like it.
How about?
It's amazing what happens when you don't end up with the last pick in the draft. Good to see him capitalizing with a good draft pick this year.
Hey, the last pick might have been good this year. I feel like everybody in the first round was pretty bad, but who knows?
How's Barrett doing? He's like 500, right?
What is he? He is. Yeah, he's 3-3. Yeah, he's chilling.
He's hanging in there with the last pick.
Yeah. Well, how about you, Nichols? How'd you do this week?
Well, I eked out a win against Tanish this week, 95-100. I had a lot of stuff go pretty horribly wrong for me. ETN goes down. He's now looking doubtful for this week. Ayuk struggles again. Ayuk has not scored a touchdown yet this year. That is pretty tough. Other than that, I still have people underperforming all across the board. Andrews finally does something. He's on my bench. He had 3 receptions for 66 yards and a touchdown. Josh Downs, though, is now looking like a pretty legit starting flex spot there. So I'm pretty happy with how he's looking right now. And I just got to shout out the Jets defense for not scoring any more points and giving me a Monday night fantasy victory. So I'm pretty happy with this week. Still a lot of room for improvement as far as points go. So we'll see.
Yeah, I was looking at Downs, but I feel like in a lot of my leagues he went undrafted. So I was looking to see if you picked him up, but you drafted him. So that could end up being a good play there.
He was a guy I was targeting in the draft. I won't lie to you. It was mainly because he's Caleb Downs' sibling. But I know I like him out of the slot. Like he's a shifty guy. I think he's on the smaller side, if I'm not mistaken. But he's slippery. He gets lost a lot. So I am a big fan of Josh Downs.
Absolutely. How do you feel about your quarterback situation? You looking for a quarterback? Because I got one for you if you need.
I have 2 rostered right now, and when we do our review here in a second, I have some more to talk about that. So I'll save that for a second.
I gotcha. Well, I can recap my game real quick. Took a tough loss. For anyone watching the Jets game, Brees Hall was getting some action late. I had him, and I was down like 20, I think like 22 points going into the night. So I needed a good game from him. He finished 3 yards short. I needed 3 yards. They were doing some weird pitches in the fourth quarter. And ESPN actually counted it as a catch, but so I thought I won the game, but then they gave me a stat correction, so I ended up losing by what, point two, like 6 points or something like that. So tough loss, but overall, I mean, I can't be too mad. Everyone I started who didn't get hurt did really well. Got super unfortunate or unlucky with Marv and Jerome Ford both going down in the first quarter, so they put up 0 and 1.4 points. But Brees Hall is back. Drake London's looking like a stud, and I think Cole mentioned it last week. He talked on Kittle. Kittle's actually looking like a really good pick for me right now. Just seeing as tight ends aren't that good in general, and that was not a pick that I was super pumped about. So can't be upset about that. Definitely a big loss this week. I'll move to 3-3. But you know what? We come back next week. So
I'm interested to hear about your running back situation here. We might be talking about it a little more when we get into you and NICHOLS matchup, but I'm seeing Jerome Ford here, who we talked about before the podcast, who got hurt, and I'm not really seeing a whole lot of big names ready to step up behind him.
Oh, I'm gonna be starting the backup for NICHOLS, starting running back. So we're gonna be seeing Tank Bigsby against NICHOLS. Might be a double whammy with ETN hurt. So we'll see. It's the London games, so that could be bad. London games tend to be interesting.
Do either of you know what ETN's status is for right now? Is he supposed to play?
He's projected no points, and he's listed as doubtful. I'm going with he's probably not playing, but we'll have to see.
All right. Well, I guess it could end up being a good week for you, Colin, to have to turn to Tank Bigsby. We'll see how he plays, I guess.
We'll see. Hey, I still got David Montgomery in my lineup, so that's a touchdown right there.
Exactly. That's now. I think he's 8 games in a row now with hitting an anytime touchdown. So fun fact for anyone out there. I can't hit a best bet to save my life, but man, I could just be picking David Montgomery every week and it'd be hitting.
That's what we got to do. We just got to start taking him as touchdown. That seems to be working.
Dude, I might have had it if DraftKings had the player props out by now. I maybe would have caught on by now, but not this week.
Literally. Well, anyways, NICHOLS, do you want to kind of talk a little bit about your team and how you feel about players?
Yeah, absolutely. So I have a lot of stuff written down. I was going to talk about historically, I draft running back heavy. This year, I veered a little bit off course with that. I also historically draft points, even if I'm not finishing high. Like there's been several seasons where I score the most points and finish like 7th or close to last. Just brutal in the past, but I'm having a completely different problem where I can't score points. I'm at 593.3 on the year, which is second lowest in the league right now. But yeah, I mean, my roster's been on the screen, so I'm sure Tommy will get it up again. Like I drafted CD Lamb first round. It's just I have a lot of names underperforming this year. It seems to be a common trend. I feel like every spot I'm going to have somebody underperform this year. It's been a problem for me. But you guys ragged on the Patrick Mahomes pick. I'm starting to agree with you. So the reason I wanted to get him is the upgrades in weapons were insane this year, except Hollywood Brown goes down. Now Rashee Rice goes down. I loved Xavier Worthy coming into the year. He was somebody I was targeting towards the end. And you can always benefit from getting Kadarius Toney, drop machine off your team. That was a big deal. And then Kelsey's looking washed as well. He's not looking like the Kelsey of old, at least at the beginning of the year. So I'm not happy with my Mahomes pick at all. Swift, though, I am extremely happy with the past 2 performances. He's doing pretty well the last 2 weeks. I was just looking at that Bears running backs room, like going into the draft. He's the most talented running back by far. Like great track record. He's a receiving threat. He has some pretty famous drops in his past, but either way, he can still catch the ball, and he gets volume out of the backfield, which is crazy. And he's only 25. So I was looking for youth in my team, and Swift was somebody I thought was being overlooked, and it's looking like I'm going to be kind of right about that. And then Andrews is another one where it's like, what the heck is going on with that? I'm still confused about it. And in our review, I'm actually going to talk about more about that, like our preview matchup. So,
yeah, no, absolutely. I think with Swift, was I ripping on him like early on in the year?
That was certainly me. I don't know if you joined in, but I was definitely one of them doing that.
Yeah, I mean, at the beginning of the year, he put what I just had it up. Like the first 3 weeks, he had 5, 8, 6, looked horrible. But then 29, 20, 22, and you mentioned like how he's getting receptions, and I think like the biggest factor there is Caleb Williams is looking so much better. He's obviously a rookie, and now that he's got a few games under his belt, he's looking significantly better, and that only helps Swift. Hopefully get him some more red zone touches there. But yeah, I don't know what else I was gonna add. I forget.
I don't know. I gotta say, shout out to DeAndre Swift though, man. He's really turned it around this year, and it's amazing. Like looking at his yards per carry too. Like for the first 3 games compared to the last 3, he had 3, 1.3, and 1.5, and then all of a sudden it turns into 5.8, 3.5, 5.4. So it seems like they've really found someone with the run game these last few weeks, and that's definitely one of the main reasons I was out on DeAndre Swift this year was because he's played behind the Lions line and the Eagles line, and we've seen him perform pretty well there. But with this Bears line, I didn't really know what to expect, and it seems like maybe they're a little bit better than we thought through the first few weeks of this year, or even coming into this year.
Absolutely, yeah. And then you got to think. I mean, I'm thinking the same way with Waddle, but with Achane, it's like once they get a quarterback, I mean, their value goes significantly up, and it pretty much returns to what it was at the beginning of the season. Achane's at least startable, but like I know for me with Waddle, like you can't play him with whoever they got at quarterback. So hopefully that'll come back up. And like you mentioned, Ayuk hopefully gets in the end zone here soon. But Kittle might be stealing all those. So
that was another thing I was going to talk about was Ayuk struggles. It was like he was somebody I was targeting because in like the back of my mind, I was like wholeheartedly believed he was going to get a contract, which he ended up getting one. It's just his usage is just I don't even know if it's targets because I haven't looked at his targets, but like it's just no fantasy production at all.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm struggling right now at the wide receiver position. CD Lamb underperforming. JSN is basically the same person as Brandon Ayuk right now. The person I'm actually happiest with in my wide receiver group is Josh Downs. Yeah.
Are you hoping for more Flacco, or do you not care if it's Richardson or Flacco?
See, when he's coming out of the slot like that, like in the way he gets lost, I think his value is kind of always there. And I'm actually going to talk about that later on because he is in another segment for me as well. So,
yeah.
But yeah, I'm happy with Josh Downs quite a bit.
Definitely. Being a Colts fan, I kind of agree with you. I don't really think it matters who's the quarterback. We'll see. I mean, Richardson will get him some bombs, but he'll miss him when he's 5 yards down the field and wide open. So we'll see though. But
I think it's got to be Flacco. I mean, that's probably one of the reasons that I didn't really draft a lot of Josh Downs, is because I've been so low on all the Colts like playmakers, just because Anthony Richardson just like takes away so much production from all of them. But man, if Flacco's in there and just dumping off the ball to him, he's going to be a PPR machine. So that definitely a good pickup there. And hopefully Joe Flacco can play for as many games as you can get him for this year.
Definitely. Well, how do you feel about our matchup this week, Nichols? You
confident? Yeah, not really. So I have Swift on a bye, CD on a bye, and then looking like ETN's not going to play. And so right now I actually don't have a running back to fill in to my slot. So I've put in, I'm not going to tell you guys who I put in for, but I've put in for some people. No matter what, that second slot for me this week is going to be pretty weak. CD being out, I have the wide receivers to start. It's just a matter of if Xavier Worthy gets in the end zone and if Josh Downs continues doing what he's doing. And this is the segment where I'm going to talk about Mahomes versus Kirko, baby. I think I'm going to keep rolling with Kirk Cousins. Seattle is middle of the pack when it comes to passing yards allowed, 9 touchdowns allowed. Falcons are playing them at home. It's just my problem is you're starting Drake London. And if I'm starting Kirk Cousins, I'm going to be rooting for him to throw to anybody else. And I'm still undecided on what to do with Mark Andrews. Dalton Schultz is reliable points, but they're reliably kind of low points. I don't think he's laid an egg yet either this season. In he's scored points in all of his matchups. Mark Andrews obviously has had some zeros and whatnot. So I'm still I'm not super confident going into this week is where I'll leave that at. How are you feeling this week, Colin?
I feel all right. I was thinking about dropping 63 fab on Darnus Johnson. So you can't pick him up. But that could be interesting if that's who you're going with. And we kind of have a battle between backup running backs for the Jags. I'm kind of confused at why Johnson's projected 9.5. Like in my opinion, like Tank Bigsby is pretty much almost on ETN's level, and I thought it should be kind of a duel for the starting position between those two. But seeing Johnson projected 9 point whatever is a little bit concerning. But overall, I mean, I've got pretty much every one of my guys playing. I'm missing Jerome Ford, but I think I might need to bench him or maybe just cut him, so I'm not tempted to start him anymore this week or this year because he's been absolutely killing me. But I don't know. We'll see. I think I've got a few good matchups. David Montgomery plays the Vikings, which might be a little bit tough, but I don't know. That guy seems to find the end zone, so we'll see how it goes.
You got me. I was going for Darnus Johnson. Please do not put $63 up for him.
Don't worry. I'll tell you right now. I'm not going after him. So.
But one thing that is trending in your direction, when I put in my offer for him, it was this morning. It was like right when I woke up this morning. He was projected 11, so his projection is coming down. I have a feeling it's just going to be a pretty split backfield, and hopefully Johnson's the one. Actually, hopefully I get him first, but hopefully he's the one getting in the end zone if somebody scores. So yeah,
it'll be interesting too if ETN plays, because even if he does play, I'm not gonna lie, I'm probably still starting Tank Bigsby. I could maybe go with like Juju or like JMO, but I don't know. I'm hoping ETN doesn't play, so it could get interesting if he does. But we will see.
I can't believe I was ragging on Colin's running back situation. I did not see your upcoming running back situation. So good luck. Hopefully you get that RB2 that hopefully gets into the end zone 2 or 3 times, and you can take down Breeze's pups. How about it?
That'd be nice. That would be actually spectacular. I need a win. So
Tommy, you really seem like you need a running back. I would go after Darnus if I were you.
I'm actually, for the first time this year, I think I'm actually good at having 2 starting running backs at one time. So
there we go.
I got you.
So relieving to hear.
That's funny. All right. So what do we got next? So you guys want to transition to start sits last week? What we had last week?
Yeah.
Was there what you wanted on? Awesome. So last week we'll keep it short. Tommy had Jameson Williams over Jerome Ford. That was actually a matchup that I had in our league, and Tommy took Jameson Williams, who did extremely well. I went with Jerome Ford, who obviously got hurt, so we're gonna wash that one. But Jameson definitely looked like the right play. I'm really kicking myself for not starting him because I would have won my matchup, but it is what it is. We'll skip over that one. The other one was Brian Thomas Jr. over Javonte Williams. I'm pretty sure they had like 4 and like 5.5 points. I did get lucky enough to squeak by with Brian Thomas Jr. Horrible if you started either one of them. Not what you wanted, but the last one we got Najee against oh god, who was it? Rico Dowd. I can never remember his last name.
Dowdle.
Yeah, Dowdle had 10.5, but then Najee had 20.2, which I think was his best week. of the year. I did call it. He was due for a touchdown, and he found the end zone. So we'll take the win there. Don't think we have any set start sits this week, but Nichols, you had one that you thought was interesting in our league, right?
Yeah, so I was just looking through all of the teams, like looking for a start six. I wasn't sure if we were going to do one. But I found one on Dean's team that's super interesting. It's Nick Chubb is projected points this week. He's projected 7.8, and he has Deontay Foreman. It's Deontay, right? Or Devontae Foreman, the other running back.
I think maybe.
Yeah, the other backup on his yeah, whatever his other backup on his bench, who is projected 5.7. So it's a pretty gross start sit, but he's got to pick between one of them. And I don't have an opinion. I was gonna punt this to you guys.
What do you think, Tommy? You want to go first?
Yeah, I can go. I think I would, as stupid as it sounds, and I feel like I might be kicking myself, I think I'm going with Foreman if I had to pick between the two of them this week. I just don't really see Nick Chubb, even without Jerome Ford, getting like a full workload. I think at best he's going to get a 50-50 split with Foreman. And so even if Nick Chubb does better with his touches, I just think Foreman's probably gonna out-touch him. And he's shown the ability to run the ball pretty decently so far this year, especially behind a Browns O-line that's like completely horrible. And the only problem with both of them is that you're probably not getting a whole lot of pass catching, but you're going to have the same problem either way. So that's why I think I'm going with Foreman, just for like a health-related reason. I just don't know if Nick Chubb's going to get that workload, and I'd rather err on the side of caution because there's probably a good chance that Nick Chubb could really lay an egg, and I don't think Foreman could do that in the same way.
I was going to say Chubb is obviously the more talented guy, but I think the much safer guy is Foreman. Just because you really have no clue with Chubb. I don't know. They play the Bengals. Bengals have been pretty bad on run defense, right? So I mean, you're hopefully getting some there. I don't know. The Browns. I'm hoping the Browns go to Jameis. With seeing as they traded Amari Cooper today, I think it's time to cut it loose. I know we've brought that up a couple times, but get Jameis in there. Maybe get something different from the offense. I mean, the Bengals, with the way the Bengals are playing, it's like, screw it. Let Jameis throw for 40 times, throw a couple picks, but see what he can do. So
the one thing to be said is the Bengals are the fourth. They've allowed the fourth highest yardage for rushing this year. So I mean, and they also have allowed 7 rushing touchdowns. So it's a very interesting start sit. I don't know. I think after hearing you guys talk, I feel like he has no reason to not gamble on Nick Chubb first game back. Like, they're in Cleveland, correct?
They are in Cleveland. Yep.
I feel like that dog pound will be pretty pumped up to see Nick Chubb back on the field. They might try to get him in the end zone. I think it's going to be a gamble to start either of them, but I think my gamble would actually be Nick Chubb. So,
yep. And it really could just come down to whichever one of them gets in the end zone. Because, like I said, probably neither of them are catching any balls. Maybe one or two if they're lucky. So if one of them can get in the end zone and the other can't, that's probably gonna seal the deal for them. So we'll see if either one of them can take advantage versus, like you guys said, a pretty porous run defense in Cincinnati.
Definitely. Well, going off that, you guys want to move into love hates?
Let's do it.
Awesome. Nichols, you want to start us off?
Yeah, so my first one is actually, I have 2 on my team, but I actually do love A-Chain.
A little bias?
A little bit of bias, but I do love A-Chain at RB18 right now. He's only projected 14.5. The Colts are the worst run defense in the league. It's close between them and the Panthers. It's 931 yards allowed. They are a little bit stingier about giving touchdowns to people. They have only given up 6 touchdowns, rushing touchdowns this year. But I mean, A-Chain is the running back on a quarterbackless team. Somebody's got to try to score for him. I think he's probably going to get into the end zone. One of the fastest running backs in the league. I still like him where he's at. And Mostert's lost a step in getting old. So I like A-Chain, and I've liked him all year. So that's my first love.
I think this is a fantastic pick. As someone who watched the or someone who had Colts money line when they played the Jaguars, and watching Trevor Lawrence and company march on them when they haven't been able to do that on anyone all year. I definitely like A-Chain to be able to find some holes in that Colts defense. So I really like that pick this week. I'm honestly surprised he's that low despite the Dolphins offense being so bad the past month.
No comment from me. Colts is really bad. Oh man. Yeah, I'll obviously be rooting against that since I'm playing him, but yeah, I agree with your reasoning there. So
do you guys want me to do my next one, or are you going to do a little rotation?
You want to go rotation? Tommy, you want to give your next one?
Yeah, I can go. And yeah, I guess speaking of maybe being a little biased, I'm also doing something that I haven't done by loving someone so high on the love-hate list. But I'm going to stake my flag in the ground here and say that I love Justin Jefferson at wide receiver number 5 this week. I'm just going to go out there and say that he's going to be the wide receiver 1 this week. He's playing Detroit. I know Minnesota has a good defense, but the over-under on this game is about 50 points, I want to say, last time I looked. So basically expecting it to be high scoring. And then for the Lions specifically, we have no Hutchinson now. Prayers up for him. He's out for the rest of the year. So we're not going to be able to get a lot of pressure on him. They're probably going to have an easy time throwing the ball. And then Lions just play a lot of man-to-man coverage, even when their cornerbacks are clearly not as good as the wide receiver lined up across them. So that's going to be Carlton Davis for us. If we're lucky, he got kicked in the head last game after his helmet came off. So I'm hoping he plays this week. And if not, upgrade Jefferson even more. And then just one little nugget of information I had written down too was that last year Jefferson played the Lions twice with Nick Mullins at quarterback, and he had 26.1 and 36. So lock him in as being the wide receiver 1 this week. I can't believe he's all the way down at 5, albeit that's not too disrespectful.
No, I feel like that's a common trend there. Going with the wide receivers against the Lions. I think it's a good pick.
Apparently everyone but CeeDee Lamb is hitting on that. But no one for the Cowboys was putting up any fantasy points on Sunday, and I was glad to see that.
Fair. Well, I guess sticking with the bias of taking guys on your own team, I'm going to take a guy on my team with Tank Bigsby at running back number 27. We talked about him earlier. Whether ETN plays or not, I kind of mentioned it earlier. I think this is turning into a split backfield, and we've taken running backs before that are this low, and it's like at the running back position, if you get 10 points, maybe 12 points, like you're probably going to hit that over or finish higher than the running back 27 spot. So I just thought he was super low, and especially if ETN's out, I'm expecting him to get a lot of points. The New England run defense is kind of in the middle of the pack, but I expect this game to be ugly, seeing as it's in London and Trevor Lawrence handing the ball off to him, maybe dumping it in a couple of times and hopefully getting in the end zone. So
yeah, I honestly I thought that's kind of why I thought Travis Etienne was projected points, because I think running back 27 is honestly reasonable for if Etienne was in and Bigsby was kind of taking like half the carries or whatever. So yeah, I love that pick. I'm surprised he's ranked that low.
Definitely. What do you got for your second pick, Nichols?
So I'm going to bring some negativity, and I'm going to hate Jordan Mason at running back 23. He's projected 13 points. Chiefs defense is 4th in yards allowed, but they've only allowed 2 rushing touchdowns this year. And if you want to take a closer look at that 4th in rushing, they've allowed 442. Just for reference, first place is 336 yards, but 185 of those 442 yards is from week 1 of the season against Baltimore.
Wow.
So they are very stingy in the rush defense department. It's a lower end projection, but I just think Jordan Mason is going to be shut down this week.
Yeah, and I see that he's questionable right now too, which only helps your case. And then it's like I clicked on his stats because like Jordan Mason, like that's been a guy that I've been betting on his rushing total. They've been high and he's still been hitting. So I just automatically assumed that he's been putting up good weeks. Week 5, he only put up 8.8, and week 6, he only put up 9.2, which was really surprising to me. So kind of like that pick there.
How many, you just had his stats up. How many touchdowns does he have this year? It's only like 2 or something, right? Which for a Niners running back is pretty low.
He has three touchdowns, and they're all rushing.
Okay. Yeah, that's still lower than I thought. I mean, CMC was
Definitely.
destroying that clip last year. I mean, obviously he's a way better player, but in that situation, you can just expect anyone to thrive.
Absolutely. But no, I like the pick.
Yep. Okay, I guess for my second one, I have another love here. Also a running back though. I'm gonna love Jahmyr Gibbs at 19 against Minnesota. I was really just surprised that he was this low on the rankings. He was projected 14.1, which obviously the 19th highest. But he's hit that in every game except for his last one. He's kind of just been a mark of consistency this year. We haven't really seen like a huge blow up game or anything like that. And I think just in a situation where I'm expecting the score to be high, I think that blow up game could always happen for Gibbs. And he's always going to get his 10 to 15 touches and be super efficient with them. So we'll see if he can rip off a few big plays against the Vikings. But I definitely like him to be higher than running back 19 on the week, because he's probably hit it every week except for maybe this last one.
Definitely. And I don't know exactly what Minnesota's rush defense ranks. I'm pretty sure it's on the better side, but like you mentioned,
it might be second. Like they're way up there.
I gotcha. But again, I don't really think that matters. I mean, like you said, Gibbs is going to get his touches, and a lot of times he sees that as little dump offs, and with such a high total, expect them to expect them to get him the ball a lot, with some red zone opportunities.
And one of these times, David Montgomery, anytime touchdown, has to miss. So Gibbs will be there to clean it up.
Not this week. I'll keep it moving. Got another love for us, and another guy that's on my team this week. I've got loving Tank Dell at 19. Another high scoring game, high total. And I just think Tank Dell's the man with Nico out. Obviously, they still got Stephon Diggs there. But last week was great. He scored a touchdown, but even without the touchdown, he still put up pretty good numbers. Green Bay gives up the 25th most passing yards to opposing quarterbacks, and I mean, I think that's even better for CJ. Obviously, CJ's got a chance to lead the league in passing yards, so I expect him to be moving the ball a lot. Packers to be scoring as well, so they keep throwing. So yeah.
That's what I was going to say. You threw it in at the last second, but that's a big reason I think I'd like Tank this week, is that I think the Texans might find themselves in a position of having to play from behind, which might not happen to them too often. So that's going to open up things for all the pass catchers with Nico Collins still out. And pretty funny, both your loves have the first name Tank, which
I know.
I think we're out of Tanks already, and you've got both of them. So.
Well, I made my first one with Bixby, and I was like, you know what, let's go look at 2 Tanks, and then I was like, you know what, I really like him there, so we'll go Tank squared this week.
All right, well, you're gonna have to scratch out your last one and find a third Tank somewhere to throw on there.
I know.
All right, let's hear your third one.
So going back to a love, spreading some more positivity, back to my team again with Josh Downs. He is wide receiver 33 this week, and he's only projected 11.9. We were talking about him earlier. He is on a tear right now as far as like his average draft position, because like you guys said, he was going undrafted this year. His last 3 games are 22.2, 15.9, and 19.5. I don't see a whole lot of reason for that to stop. But on the other hand, here are the reasons for it to stop. The Miami has allowed the second least yards for passing, and they have a very strong secondary. The good thing though is it won't be Jalen Ramsey guarding him, and I'm looking at their depth chart right now. Jordan Poyer and Javon Holland, both of their safeties are questionable right now. So even one of those guys goes down, it can open up a little bit more for him. But like I said earlier, he gets lost a lot. I just like how he is and who he is. And so I'm all over Josh Downs this week.
That's a pick I can get behind. I like that one.
I'm with you too. 9+ targets in each of his last 3 games, and 15.9 plus points his last 3 games. So you said he's projected what, like 11 and a half? Like,
yeah, I think it's criminally low for him this week.
I agree.
We will see. I think Richardson's going to play this week.
No, just kidding. Take him off.
that's always a question mark. We don't know with Richardson, but it will be interesting to see how he does with no Flacco compared to Richardson. Something to watch.
Yep, for sure. And then I guess I'll go with my last one here. I guess not necessarily a love. I'm going to go back to the hates, and I think this is the only time we've done hating a quarterback other than Lamar Jackson. So Baker Mayfield, please don't kill me. But I'm going to hate Baker this week, QB5 against Baltimore. And the main reason that I'm thinking this, I think, is because I think his ranking, and obviously he's played some fantastic football through the first month of the season. So I don't want to take away from what he's doing or anything. But the Ravens, I just think, have a really good defense, and we haven't really seen the Buccaneers play a whole lot of great passing defenses. If you look at their schedule, they played the Commanders, the Lions, the Eagles, the Saints. Like, there's been a handful of pretty bad pass defenses in there that he's been able to run up the stats against. And then on the Ravens side, they're actually ranked, I want to say, 31st in fantasy points, like given up to quarterbacks. So like they've given up the second most. So you would think it's going to be a good matchup for them. But I think their stats are a little skewed with who they've played so far. They played against Patrick Mahomes, Dak Prescott, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, and Jaden Daniels. So a lot of quarterback matchups in there that are just going to be unfavorable. And I think they can get back on track once they have some more favorable games. The Buccaneers, like I said, have been moving the ball very, very well, but I think just stuff's a little skewed too far off on both the sides here. And I like Baker to probably not hit his projection this week.
Not gonna lie, I kind of disagree. I kind of feel like Baker keeps it going. 5 is definitely pretty high, but that's kind of a guy that I've gotten behind this year. I've got him in a couple leagues. I'm starting him over. Oh shoot, I don't even know who I'm starting over, but I do expect the Ravens to be leading this game and Baker to continue to throw it. I'm not sure with what's up with Rashad White and Bucky Irving. They both might be questionable. I don't know, but I expect him to keep throwing. And then the Ravens, it's like they've been in so many close games, I feel like, this year, or they've gone up and just blown games. So don't get me wrong, 5 is definitely very high, but I kind of think he still has a good game. Who knows though? It's Baker Mayfield, so he could blow up at any point.
I would like to add, the Ravens are dead last in yards given up. They have given up 1,789 yards this year, and they have allowed the 3rd most touchdowns to quarterbacks as well, with 11 passing touchdowns. So yeah. It is a pretty – but I love how you put in perspective of the quarterbacks that they've played. That changes my mind a little bit on it as well. Because, yeah, I mean, that was a talented quarterback list that you just went through. So that could be a reason why.
Yep, that's what I'm saying. Baker's played so good. I think it's just that, like, basically the stats you've read off is why he's ranked at number 5. And I feel like he should just maybe be a little bit further back with – I feel like people are just kind of forgetting how good the Ravens defense is because they haven't really shown us it this year, but they haven't really gotten a lot of opportunities to really show it against offenses that aren't just stacked with playmakers. So we'll see. And I'm glad we get some disagreement on here. I feel like we always agree with each other. So it's always good to have a little banter going on between us.
Definitely. Well, I'll close this off here. I've got a hate. I don't think I've done a hate for a little while. But we're gonna go Garrett Wilson at number 10. Not sure what to expect with Devontae if he plays or not. But either way, I mean, they play the Steelers, and Steelers are obviously a very, very good defense. It just seems a little high for me for Garrett Wilson. And I mean, the Jets, like you'd think they'd be good, but like they don't score that many points, honestly. And I saw the Steelers are starting Russ this week, which blows my mind. We can talk about that too. I don't understand why in the world they're doing that, but I can totally see this game being like 9-6 as a final score and just nobody really getting the ball moving. So I kind of expecting Wilson to finish under that 10 spot. If Devontae plays and they move Wilson to the slot, I think Garrett Wilson could significantly benefit from that. But with that being said, we're gonna hate him at 10.
I like that pick. I think it's going to be a gross game, like you said. I was actually going to say I like a 9-6 finish as well, because I hammer the under in that game. But yeah, I completely agree with you. I do not like him at 10.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna. I think the over under after Adams got traded was maybe like 37 and a half. Like it's way down there.
What do you guys think about Russ getting the nod this week?
Stupid.
It was already a failed experiment in Denver. I don't get it. I don't understand why. Like, Justin Fields has won you games too. It's mind blowing. He's a winning quarterback this year. I guess winning is a kind of a stretch, but I mean, he's won games. Yeah, but
he's 4-2.
Exactly.
Yeah.
4-2. I mean, you could call on their defense a lot of the times for that, because he doesn't score a whole lot. But I mean, he's won you games. He's gotten you to 4-2. I have no idea what they are doing and why. It's unbelievable to me.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I also think it's like Russ is a weird guy, and I don't know if people like him. Like, I feel like with him coming into week 7 or whatever week we're in and taking over the starting job, like, I feel like that'll piss people off. Like, hopefully George Pickens like blows up and just like punches him in the face or something, and it causes a bunch of nonsense. But I have no clue why, and I hope Russell Wilson does absolutely nothing.
Yeah, and I don't get it either, because I feel like Fields just fits like the type of offense that they want to run too, just like running the ball and taking care of it or whatever. Like, that's perfect for Justin Fields. Like, I don't know how well a 35 plus whatever how old he is, old Russell Wilson's going to fit into that system. So
yeah, we should call Yevskin right now. see what his thoughts are. It's crazy, but oh well. Well, I guess you guys have any other? Did we go through all our love hates?
Yep.
All righty. Well, let's move on to trivia. Nichols, I don't know if you've been watching, but I could use some help on these. So
I'm confident enough, unless this question is just off the wall, then we might both be screwed.
I wouldn't say it's off the wall. It is in the last year, but definitely a type of question we haven't done yet. So I just need you guys to name the players who had the most PPR points in a single game in 2023. And just a couple of caveats beforehand. It does include quarterbacks, but none of the quarterbacks made the top 10, so you don't need to guess them. Stroud was 11 with 41.8, so that's like the bar you have to clear in a game. And I thought there was one other thing I was going to add, but and there's no repeats. That just happened to be the case that no one repeated in the top 10.
Okay.
So there's only one player in each slot.
All right. Well, starting off, we're gonna go CD and Tyreek. I know for a fact they scored over 40, I think.
So I figured you'd throw out CD. His game against the Rams, he had 41, which was third off the list. But Tyreek is on here at number 8 with 44.5.
So they both were on the list?
CD just missed. Tyreek was good. He's at number 8.
Okay. All right. So Tyreek at 8. Let's go. Who went off? Did Puka?
No, Puka's not on here. And I can only see the top 25, so I don't see him.
Okay.
I think Christian McCaffrey had a monster game last year, correct?
Yep. Christian McCaffrey, number 5 with 48.7.
What about Jahmyr Gibbs? Did he ever go off?
He did not make the list. I think his most was like 30 something in one of those weeks that Montgomery missed.
I could be thinking of the wrong year, but what about Jamal Williams?
No, that would have been the year before if he.
Oh yeah, okay.
How about Amon-Ra?
No, he didn't make it either.
Okay, all right. Oh, what about Chris Godwin?
No, actually, I think Godwin only had 2 touchdowns last year, so I don't think he ever had that blow-up game. Yeah.
Terrible guess, Colin.
What about his teammate Mike Evans?
No, actually, surprisingly, he is not on here either. Man. And I can start probably giving some hints if you guys want him, but I don't want to like throw him out too early.
What about AJ Brown?
No, AJ Brown did not make the list. He's at number 19. So he was close.
This might start getting ugly. So I'll go with another teammate, Devontae Smith, because I kind of feel like he had a monster game last year.
No, he did. He wasn't on here.
How about Derrick Henry?
No.
Jamar Chase, did he play last year?
He was number 1. He had a 52.2 point game in week 5 last year.
All right, there we go, Nicholas. We're back on track. What do we have? 3? Do we have 3 of them?
Yep.
Okay. Who was really good last year? You just gave me all the wide receivers last week too.
There's one of them that you got tripped up on. He's back on the list this week.
Who did I forget? Michael Pittman.
No, it's not him.
Oh, Jonathan Taylor. Is JT on that list?
No. All right, so I guess 2 of them are the same position on the same team, and they actually scored it in the same game.
Jalen Waddle go off one week with Tyreek. So
No.
we're missing
T. Higgins.
Colin, you had the right team, but not the right players.
Mostert and Achane, duh.
Yeah, against the Broncos.
Oh, yeah.
Achane scored 51, and Mostert
Yeah.
scored 45.
Dang, and Yost had both of them on his team, I think.
That's disgusting.
Yeah. Okay. So what? We got 5 now. We got
Yes.
5?
Is there a third person from the Dolphins? Did Mostert have a crazy game last year?
Yeah, Mostert was on here too.
Okay.
So yeah,
That's what
3
we're doing.
3 Dolphins had a top 8 game last year.
That is crazy.
Did Kamara go off last year?
Not in the top 25, I guess.
Okay. I'm imagining there's no tight ends on that list, right?
No, there's no tight ends. I guess, funny enough, man, I don't know if I should use this hint because it's going to give both of them away, but it's pretty funny. Man, the 2 of the people on here are the 2 most recently traded players in the NFL.
Oh, Devontae Adams and Amari Cooper.
Yep. Amari Cooper was number 2 with 51.5. Barrett had him against me in the semifinals last year, and then Devontae Adams number 10 with 42.2.
Okay. So what we got? So we need 3 more.
Yep. So you have 2 wide receivers and 1 running back. And the 1 running back, I'm surprised you haven't guessed him yet, Colin.
I already guessed JT.
It's not him.
Monty?
No.
Don't tell me it's Najee.
No, it's not Najee.
Who would I guess? Is he on my fantasy team?
Is
Brees?
it Joe Mixon?
Is it Brees?
Brees Hall is number 9.
Damn, I should have.
43.1. And I guess Mixon's not top 25. Was that 5 touchdown game must have been 2 years ago. I was kind of, after you said
that
that, I
was
was
the one
kind
I
of
was
wondering where it
thinking.
was. Yeah, I was kind of wondering where it was for a second.
All right, so 2 wide receivers.
So yeah,
What about
you got
Diggs?
2 wide receivers that it's not Diggs. They currently play on the same team, but they didn't last year.
They're on the same team right now?
Yeah, but they weren't 1 year ago.
Tank and Nico were on the same team. Let me look at rosters.
On the same team now. And it's not Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua because we said that.
Yep.
Or I guess they were on the same team last year anyway.
What about have we said wait, shit.
Wait,
They're both in the NFC now.
Oh, is it Keenan?
Yep.
Keenan and
did DJ Moore have a crazy
Yep.
one last year?
Yeah. That's one.
Yeah, DJ Moore had 49. I think it was on Thursday night against the Commanders. It might have been Monday, but I think it was Thursday night. And then Keenan Allen, actually, funny enough, he was number 6, and he was the only one on here that never had a receiving or rushing touchdown. He had 1-for-1 passing for 49 yards and a touchdown, and then he had 20 catches.
That's crazy.
Damn.
So yeah, pretty pretty interesting game there out of him. Yeah, nice job. That list was kind of tricky. That's why I figured I'd save it until we had two people, because that one's more just
that was
like
a fun one.
remember
That
who
was a
had
good one.
games.
God, I should have gotten Keenan. That tricked me up last time too. Like you said.
That's who I was thinking of when I was like, one of the guys that tripped you up last time, he's back.
I was like, no way, it's like Adam Thielen or someone.
Adam Thielen 50 piece. How can I forget it?
That's funny.
All right. Well, yeah, nice work. We will, I guess I'll be taking over the trivia next time, maybe the next two times, since you've gone back to back now, Colin. We'll figure it out for the future. But I guess we can move it into best bets to wrap it up.
Yeah, yes, sir. Nichols, you want to start us off again?
Yeah, so we're gonna do another rotation, and I'll just give my first one here.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm a spread better. I'll start by saying that I don't go too much further into the betting, but I like Bengals -5.5. Browns, let's just be honest here, are terrible. They are terrible. And the Bengals aren't a whole lot better as far as how they performed this year. But I think I was listening to 97.1 The Fan the other day, and they were breaking down the betting odds for one of these teams to make the playoffs. And it was some ridiculous difference where like the Browns were like plus 1,100 to make the playoffs, and the Bengals were still down in the hundreds, like lower hundreds. I think the Bengals are going to take care of business in their Ohio rivalry. I think -5.5 is going to be achieved pretty easily for them.
Yeah, at first I was like, yeah, I really, really love that. I also just looked, the line already moved up a point too. So Bengals are 6.5 now. I totally agree. They should beat the crap out of them. But for some reason, like I feel like those AFC North games are always really close. I feel like they always play each other pretty well. But to your point, there's absolutely no reason the Bengals shouldn't stomp the Browns. I mean, they're horrible, and who knows even what they're doing.
I don't think they have the division game to worry about. The only thing the Bengals need to worry about is if Jameis Winston suits up.
Yeah. Then they should be worried.
All right. Well, I can go ahead and go into my first one then. I also just have two spreads this week. I feel like I usually either just pick spreads or money lines. And after the Colts money line versus spread scandal, I've decided to maybe stay away from the money lines for a moment. My first one, I guess I'm going to go with the Packers covering their 2.5-point spread against the Texans. It's -122 when I had placed it, and I think it's already moved now to -3. So I'd imagine the -2.5 is no longer -122, unfortunately, for everyone who's been tailing my great bets so far this week. But I think the main thing that I like about this game is that the NFC North has just been so dominant against the rest of the league. And now I think we're going to get another chance to see just how much of the case that is. I just haven't been super impressed with the Texans this year. I know they're coming off a blowout win against the Patriots, but Drake May's first start on a crappy team, I'm not really putting too much into that. And then as for the NFC North teams, the Packers are fourth in the league with a +41 point differential, and that's fourth in the NFC North. So I just think they're really going to put on display how good this division's been this year. And the big thing to watch probably this game is going to be the Packers are so good at turning the ball over on defense. And CJ Stroud is really known for not turning the ball over. So I think if the Packers can get a couple picks off him, it might be a long day for the Texans in this one. So we'll see how it pans out. Yeah,
playing in Lambeau is never fun. So
definitely. No, I love it too, and especially since you got that 2.5 too. Definitely a good number. And I think the Packers are underrated. Like from the beginning of the season. I mean, you like you said it, they're 4-2, fourth best point differential. But no, I agree. I mean, this is almost kind of I can't say it's a must win, but like the Packers got to keep it up since they're in fourth in their own division. And I like it. Like we mentioned earlier, it's going to be high scoring, and hopefully the Packers can walk it off with a field goal to win by 3 for you.
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping the Packers lose still, but I'm not feeling too confident in him. And I forgot to talk about Nico Collins too. He's still going to be out, so that's going to be a huge loss for the Texans. I think the Packers will have the cornerbacks available to be able to guard all of Houston's good receivers with him being out. So
definitely. I'll go to my first pick. I'm expecting to be hurt here. I got Colts -3. This is simply a fate of the Dolphins. There's absolutely no reason the Colts should not beat this team. They are so bad. Our defense is horrible, but Dolphins' offense is even worse with no quarterback. Richardson's coming back. Hopefully he's healthy. Even if he gets hurt mid-game, we know we got a good backup. I expect the Colts to hold the Dolphins to under 14 points, hopefully, but we'll see there. So Colts -3, got it at -120.
I'm not touching this game with a 10-foot pole, to be completely honest. I'm terrified of the Colts defense. I'm terrified of Miami on both sides of the ball. I don't know if I can, especially if Richardson comes back. I don't know if I love either team on either side of the ball.
I'm feeling 50 rushing yards out of Richardson, 100 yards to Josh Downs, 200 yards to Alec Pierce. We're gonna run it up this week.
I'll believe that when I see it. And I feel like I should be the guy getting all over this game being so gross because I picked the Titans that 1 week to beat the Dolphins. But even I'm not getting in on this one. So
fair enough.
Yeah, it's one of those games where it could be another 6-9 finish. Who knows? But it's going to be gross. But I'll move it along to my next pick and my final pick. I'm going to go with Commanders -7.5 versus Carolina. So the only thing that scares me with this game is the Commanders have been so hot, and I don't know if they're a team that's going to come back to earth or if they really are this good. And if it's going to happen, it's going to happen against the worst team in football, where you come crashing back down to earth and get humbled a little bit. But that being said, I mean, again, worst team in football. Commanders are looking really good, and I expect them to stay hot. Just that little bit in the back of my mind where it's like, maybe they fall this year or this week. But no, I like the Commanders a lot. So
definitely. Yeah, this was actually a pick that I was looking at too. I didn't love the 7.5. If it was at like maybe 6.5, I might have taken it. But I also considered Washington money line and Colts money line. It was like plus 102. But for some reason I stayed away. I don't know why, because I still went with the Colts. But I like the pick. I think they could easily blow them out.
I was literally about to say, I think once they drop the alt lines, I'm going to take 6.5 for the Commanders. Even though 6.5, 7.5 probably going to have the same outcome, makes me just feel a little more comfy having the the 1 point. But I love that pick. I almost put them down as well. So
there we go.
Okay, and then I guess to wrap it up for my picks, this one's also moved as well. So apparently I'm a sharp these days. It was at 3.5 earlier, and now it's moved to 3. I've got Giants plus 3.5 against Philly at -110. And this one, it's absolutely disgusting. I hate picking the Giants, but they have a good defense, and I'm really just out on all the vibes with the Eagles. They beat the Browns by 4, and then their head coach is like yelling at the fans. Like it's a tough scene over there. As someone who picked them as one of my best bets to win the division, where we might be cooked. I don't think that's going to happen. They continue to underperform, and it's been happening since like halfway through last year. So I think the Giants have been playing their opponents really well these last few weeks, and I think they'll at least hang in there with the Eagles and maybe even come out with a win. And then the last little thing, too, is that 87% of the money is on Eagles money line and 68% of it is on the Eagles spread. So Vegas will be making the call if need be.
There we go.
This one.
Yeah, I love it. That is so gross. You look at it, like the average person looks at this and is like, oh my God, Eagles -3 automatically, just like you said with the money there. Also to add on to that, the sports books got killed last weekend. The public did incredibly well. So I'm expecting the public to not be good this week. But yeah, I mean, I could see the Giants outright winning this. Full fade on the Eagles. Granted, they could turn it up and win by 21, but I love that pick.
Dude, should I have gotten nasty or should I have gone money line? I almost did, but the whole Colts thing really has me a little sad after that one. So.
And more to be said about Nick Sirianni yelling at the fans. I mean, the social media personalities for Philadelphia are all calling for his head. They want him out. When you start getting a culture and like a team getting into that mode where it's like, let's get rid of this head coach, it starts putting a terrible product out on the field. And I have a feeling if it's going to keep trending that way, this could be a pretty ugly week for the Eagles. So
definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a great point. And I feel like we've seen it now. Like I said, it hasn't even been just this year. Like the last 8 of their games last year, they were horrible. And it just seems like things haven't really turned around. And when you're a head coach that doesn't call offensive or defensive plays and you act like a jackass, there's probably not going to be a whole lot of room for you for too long. He's no Dan Campbell, that's for sure. So
Facts. Oh man. Well, I guess the last pick, I'm actually going back to the Commanders game. I'm going over 51.5. I think we can all agree that we think Washington's gonna hang a lot of points on the Panthers. Their defense still sucks, and Andy can sling it. So I'm hoping the Panthers can put up like 21, 24 points here, and I like the Commanders to put up the other whatever 30 plus that we need. So it's definitely a high over. 51.5, got it at minus 110 odds, but I expect both teams to put up a lot of points here.
Yeah, that was definitely a game I was going to think a lot of scoring because obviously I was talking my praises about the Commanders winning being hot. It is all on their offense every week. So you're right. I think there will be some pretty high scoring in this game.
Yep, same thing. I think the only thing that might kill you is the Panthers just being so bad that the Commanders don't score very many points. That's probably the only thing holding you back. So if that happens, NICHOLS bet will hit, and then at least someone will be happy. So
there we go. Knowing our luck at NICHOLS, I don't know if you've seen it with our best bets, have not been too good. So Panthers are probably going to win like 21 to 3.
They're both missing easily.
I'll add to the curse. It's going. That's how it's going with me in real life betting right now. So,
oh man, well, very good. Well, I think that wraps up everything we wanted to cover. NICHOLS, you wanna add on anything before we head off?
Nope. Thank you for having me, guys. This was a lot of fun. Hopefully, I can return next year for a preview. Maybe even this year if me and Tommy play each other again. But yeah, this was a lot of fun. Thanks, guys.
Hell yeah.
Absolutely. Tommy, you got anything you want to close out with?
Rest in peace to the Detroit Tigers season. That's why my face looks like this now and no more beard. So sad day. But we'll be back next year with a vengeance.
There we go. Well, that'll end our episode for this week. Go Colts, go Lions. NICHOLS, best of luck to you in our matchup. And we'll see everyone next week.
Coming with a dub this week, Colin.
Good luck.